Hi guys, it's Coach Pat from the Rant. Before we get to the Rant, let's talk a little bit about our sponsor, Premier Football Consulting. These guys do a great job of placing football players throughout the country at great programs from Division I to Division III. No one does it any better. But instead of me telling you about it, how about you hear from the CEO, Nico Pappas? Nico, tell us all about it.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Rant. My name is Nico Pappas. I'm Coach Pappas' son. I'm also the director and one of the founders here at Premier Football Consulting. Our team at PFC has been around for 23 years and is one of the largest football consulting groups in the country, as we've helped over 1,000 players and their family navigate this competitive, confusing, and costly recruiting process in an effort to find a great college fit. Our team consists of 15 former players and coaches that have experience at the FBS level, the FCS and Ivy League level, as well as the small college high academic landscape. Since the advent of the transfer portal, the NIL, and in the post days of COVID, this college recruiting process has become crazier than ever. It's confusing, it's competitive, and most importantly, it's costly. The PFC has stayed on top of all of these trends and has the ability to leverage our experience, our knowledge, and most importantly, our connections at the college level to give our players a huge edge in what will be a very competitive process. So if your son desires to play college football, I highly recommend that you get the help of an expert. When you go to buy a house, you look to hire a real estate agent. It's the same thing with the college recruiting process. When you are about to enter it, you should seek the help of an expert, and that's where the PFC comes in. So if you would be interested in a quick free consultation call, feel free to reach out to me at 617-308-7801 or shoot me an email at nico@premierfootballconsulting.com. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nico, and thank you, Coach Pap. Now, on to the podcast. Cue the music, baby.
Hey, welcome back, guys. It's great to see you. Another football edition with my buddies, Danny V and the great Damien. I'm Coach Pap, your co-host. Danny V coming to us from East Boston, looking comfortable today, buddy. How you doing over there today, buddy? All good?
Nice. We got the little sliver of sun coming through. It's about 40 degrees out. Heat wave here.
Heat wave. My God, in heaven, cheek.
40. We hit 40.
Unbelievable. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And Damien is coming. Danny, Damien is coming to us from Lansing, Michigan. East Lansing, Michigan.
Yes, I am.
The home of his girlfriend.
Yep.
And Tom Izzo. And he's wearing a Notre Dame hat. He's got some balls.
I do got some balls. I do wear this hat around, and I do get heckled. I do. But like I say, Danny, I'm a Notre Dame fan. I ride it and I die with
My condolences.
I'll take it.
Folks, we're talking all football. We're talking all NFL today. And we're really lucky to have a great guest midway through. It's going to be Anthony Sherman, former North Attleboro Red Rocketeer, star at University of Connecticut, and then 10-year NFL career. Anthony's going to be a fantastic guest. But before we do that, Dame, why don't you start us off, buddy?
All right, guys. We know what the Super Bowl is finally. It is a rematch between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. Guys, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the conference games last week, too. Bills losing, Commanders losing. Let's talk.
Go ahead, Danny. Let's go AFC. Oh, NFC. Let's go NFC.
NFC. Well, being a vindictive SOB, I was dead set again. I would normally have loved the Washington story, but considering what they did a week before, I was hoping they get pounded.
Well, they did.
And what the Eagles did is what the Lions should have done. They kept the game simple, pound the ball. You got a great offensive line. You got a stud running back. And last week I mentioned he was the closest thing to Barry Sanders. I mean, Saquon Barkley is incredible. He is just unbelievable.
Should be the MVP, I think. Should be the MVP.
He doesn't need much. One little thing and he's gone. It just so the balance is amazing. And just watching them do what they did, it was delightful. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. So let's talk about Saquon for a second. I mean, what he has done is he has taken a very average offense and made it, quite frankly, great. I mean, Jalen Hurts had a good game. And,
Yeah.
and listen, I like Jalen Hurts. I like what he stands for. Anything else, I don't think he's a good quarterback. But Barkley literally has taken this team from mediocre to great with just the way he runs the football and, the mindset. The first run of the game, literally you could hear the air come right out of the Washington Commanders locker room like, oh, no. I mean, it was insane. I mean, the run, what he does, and then they just kept – you're right, Danny. They kept on pounding him and pounding him and pounding him. I mean, fantastic job on offense. But I think the key, and we're going to talk about Kansas City as well, Philadelphia's defensive line just manhandled. Oh,
unbelievable.
Oh, my God, did they manhandle, and Washington looked very, very average. And those three turnovers turned into 21 points.
Yeah.
You can't recover from that, in my opinion.
We've said all along that on paper, we felt that the Eagles are the most talented team in football.
Yeah.
Just sometimes the coach gets in the way, but when he just steps aside, let their talent flow. I mean, they don't have any weaknesses. They can run the ball. They've got two good receivers. They got a good tight end. Hurts is a serviceable quarterback. Their D line is loaded. The secondary is good. I mean, they just don't have any weaknesses.
Yeah. I get mixed reviews about Harry Rosen, the GM. You know what I mean? Again, here's some good things. Here's some you can't argue with their success. Putting together their roster of their drafting. I mean, they've done again, Danny, we've said it ad nauseum. How anyone for the New York Giants has a job right now is beyond me.
Crazy.
How they could let
you got to fire that guy.
Danny, I'm going to ask you this. In the history of sports, has anyone ever let a better player walk than the Giants letting Barkley go? I mean,
I hate to say, but somebody on Twitter made a scary analogy. Saquon Barkley might be the Mookie Betts of football.
Well, you're right. Yeah, there you go.
I can't take credit for it. I wish I knew who actually said it on Twitter, but it was out on Twitter. And that's a pretty good analogy.
It's a great analogy. But how the Giants could let him go is beyond me. I'm going to ask you another one, Danny. Has there ever been a more underrated coach than Nick Sirianni? I mean,
if you look at his numbers, it's like, he's on a Hall of Fame path, yet everyone wants to kill him, present company included.
He's never been a more polarizing figure.
Hate him too. He's a wise ass. We love you though. You're a wise ass, but Jesus.
Must be the Italian in us. We bring out the worst in everyone.
He does. He brings the worst out in everyone. It is amazing. Second Super Bowl in 4 years, and still people want to get rid. If they lose, they want to fire him. It'll be that'll be something. Well, no, you're right, Danny. They're a complete football team. They took apart Washington. It was crazy. So what'd you think of the AFC, buddy?
Well, it's frustrating when my wife in the middle of the third quarter, because she could see I'm really, and I'm not a Buffalo fan, but I'm chiefed out.
Yeah.
So I'm like, every time Buffalo, she says, why are you doing this to yourself? Kansas City, not only did she say Kansas City's going to win, she says, they're going to win by like a field goal or something like that at the end of the game. This is in the third quarter. And then she just walks in the other room.
Yeah.
After the game, she comes out. What was the final score? It's so frustrating because they're right there. It's almost like the Chiefs are toying with them with the little carrot there. They hang the carrot out. Just when they were about to grab it, they pull it back. It's frustrating. If you're not a fan of the Chiefs, it's very frustrating to watch.
It is very frustrating to watch, and God bless Carla. From the mouth of babes, she is 100% right. And of course, I bet the Bills. I thought they were going to be there at the end, and you watch the Chiefs, and they are so methodical in what they do. They do not turn the ball over. They take what you give them. And there were to me, there were two really key things. Number one was Andy Reid's having the biggest. You want to talk about guts and making calls at the end of the game? I'll tell you what. I mean, his play action rollout with Mahomes, not once but twice, amazing, great calls. And the second thing is that Chris Jones may be the most dominant NFL player there is right now. I mean, what he did. And I think you're going to talk about the tush push later in the program and stuff like that. Let me tell you, he was literally launching offensive linemen for that thing. I mean, they were coming out, they were getting in the tush push formation, and Jones literally launched guys back, launched them. And he's a man child. I mean, I just can't get over how good he is. And then the kick game is great. They got the punter, the kid who was Buffalo had dumped earlier because he was falsely accused of rape.
Right.
They got him. I mean, they've got the field goal. They've got the punt return team. They got the whole thing in special teams. I mean, Kyle is right. I mean, it's tough to not go with those guys moving forward.
Hell, they got something out of Juju Smith-Schuster.
Can you believe it?
Yep.
Only them. Only the Chiefs.
Oh,
Chiefs.
So this is my opinion. After watching these guys year in and year out and stuff like that, I still have Don Shula as my top coach of all time.
Stop it. Stop it.
Yeah, let me.
No.
All right, well, let's take Shula out of it. Who do you got? Belichick or Reid right now? Who you got?
Double B.
Oh,
who has more Super Bowls, Coach? Who has more Super Bowls?
Hey, what's it gonna take with you?
All right, let me ask you this. Okay, just to be, we'll be nice about this. Who's got more rings, Belichick?
Oh, no, you're all
or no. Or I'll give you two guys. Your two heroes, Andy Reid and Don Shula combined. Who's got more?
I don't know. Oh, yeah, they do. Who's done it with two different teams?
Don Shula, didn't he have a pretty good quarterback for like 20 years and never won?
All right, let's get Shula out. Okay, let's get.
All right, so we've chopped him down in half, Damien.
Good.
We'll finish the job off. Get him out.
Talk to the head.
Listen, Coach, I'll give you Andy Reid is the best offensive head coach. If you want to go that way,
he's the best coach in the NFL right now.
Belichick is still number one. Belichick is still number one.
Well, yeah, okay.
He's dumbfounded, Damien.
I'm gonna agree to disagree. That's fine.
Championships.
Are you talking Bill Belichick losing? Are we talking Bill Belichick losing record without Tom Brady?
With Mac Jones. And
Josh
McDaniels
Matt
left
Castle?
in the first season.
What happened when Matt Castle was the quarterback?
Did a good job with Castle. I mean, what happened? I mean, unfortunately, just couldn't keep the thing going. I mean, is he over 40% when winning without him?
It's like I think it's.
You can argue that about Parcells.
Yeah, well, I don't think Parcells is up there anyways. Anyway, that's okay.
Parcells has a losing record when Belichick's not with him. Does that mean he's a bad coach?
Mm-hmm.
No, I thought Parcells was a good coach. I'll tell you who I love. Pete Carroll back. Here we go.
Petey pom-poms.
Let's go. It turns out that, you know what? Brady actually does like old coaches. Not the one you guys thought he liked.
He knows. For all this Brady Belichick that they don't like each other, this, that, the other thing. Why is it that Brady reached out to Belichick if he doesn't like him?
How do we know that? Well, because who said that? Kirk Minahan? How do we know this?
I just said it, I thought.
Danny said it. It's coming from Danny.
Hey, speaking of which, there's a good series on. I don't even know what cable thing. Brady versus Belichick type thing. It's actually
Vice. I think Vice.
Yeah, on Vice. That's what it is. I watched it's pretty good.
Is it good?
Who's more valuable? And they're really good points, though. It's good watching.
I'm not even going to watch it because I already know the answer. The GOAT, the real GOAT.
Well, because we're going to find out why Coach hates Belichick so much. I still think he tried to get a job on his staff and thumbs down.
Man,
that or he got stiff for an autograph.
I don't hate him. I think people in New England I mean, they have short memories. I just can't believe, I mean, how he treated the media, how he treated the fans while he was winning was atrocious. I just don't think you had to be like that.
That's fine, but I mean, you can't argue with his record. I mean,
his record was good, and I got to be honest with you. I think early in his career with the Patriots, he was he was a great coach. I just think he kind of lost it at the end. I just think towards the end,
the last few years, certainly you can't, I mean, and you can't argue the fact that they weren't good. They didn't draft well on the offensive side, which is the strangest. This is the one thing that's always boggled my mind, because I think his defensive draft picks and his free agency signings on defense were good. That being said, offensively, it was like, what are we doing here?
Terrible.
It was just, and that's what it pretty much led to his demise. I mean, just
yeah. And again, we've talked about it. What happened this past year was not only the hiring of Gerard Mayo, not only did it expose Belichick's weaknesses, but it exposed the organization's weaknesses.
Absolutely.
And when you look at Kansas City, how they build their team purely on speed is unbelievable. I mean, they just draft fast guys. Pacheco. I mean, the kid from Baylor. I mean, they just go, and then they hope that they become good football players. It's amazing, and it works. It's crazy. Speaking of football, NFL, before we go anywhere else, how's your Lions going to be without their two coordinators?
Well, they got the two guys. You got John Morton came in from Denver, offensive coordinator. Defensive guy, as we said for a few weeks, they promoted from within, Kelvin Shepard, who everyone seems to love. Aaron Glenn raved about him the whole time. I was concerned that he might try to take him to New York with him.
Yeah.
So, the Ben Johnson thing, maybe this is better that they, at times I think, he was the smartest man in the room. And yeah, it looks great. But there are times where and I thought in the Washington game, they got exposed for trying to be too cute. Jamison White, you're down 2 scores, you wide receiver option pass.
Mm-hmm.
Only Belichick can pull that off with Amendola and Edelman. Just saying. The guy who can't coach.
I think Ben Johnson's going to have a lot of trouble in Chicago, in my opinion. And then they went out, they hired a 28-year-old offensive coordinator. It's Chris Doyle's son. Chris Doyle used to be a BC Quincy guy, BC High guy. That's his son. A student assistant at Iowa, and then the tight ends coach at Denver. I don't know. I mean, is Steve Spagnuolo going to be shaking in his boots lining up against those guys? I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. So, I think Aaron Glenn will do a great job with the Jets. I don't know if
his press conference was fantastic.
Yeah, fantastic.
He did have a good press conference.
Yeah. You weren't happy with my boy Liam Cohen's press conference, were you?
Boy. That Duval. It's like he had no clue what they were talking about. And
yes. Liam Cohen's the greatest. I mean, fantastic player at UMass, and he worked on camp. He's great. And his dad, I used to coach against his dad. He was the head coach at Salve, Regina. Liam's a great guy. It'd be fantastic. I personally believe that Jacksonville might be the best job out there. That's what I think. Especially
they've got some tools to work with. Trevor Lawrence, if you get the right guy there, Etienne's a good running back. They got Ridley. They got Evan Ingram. Defensively, they've got 4 or 5 good defensive guys. So, the tools are there. I mean, I think that it's a better job than, say, New Orleans or even Dallas.
Oh, yeah. Better than Chicago. Better than Vegas.
Yeah, see, I think Chicago's sneaky good. I think they're a lot like Jacksonville. I do think they've got tools to work with. I mean, I think the Raiders is a bad job, which is why I think Carroll is the perfect guy there. Because you need an enthusiastic guy. They're going to, I think what they're hoping is that, somehow they get Shedeur Sanders to land there at 6. I mean, I don't think he's the be-all, end-all, but I think that's what they're hoping for.
He can't play there. It's not going to work. Let's go back to Jacksonville. Jacksonville, no state tax in Florida. Everyone wants to play in Florida. Owners really into it. They fired the GM, who was a nightmare. I mean, I think they got all the tools.
Division is not it's not a challenging division.
No. I really think that. I mean, again, I go back to I blew it. I know I'm usually right there. 99% of the look at his face, Damian. Look at his face. I was way off with Trevor Lawrence. I'm hoping that Liam can go in and make the guy. I always thought he was going to be the next John Elway. I think it's a little late for that.
I think he's got ability. I mean, he showed that one year when he was healthy, and things went. He was terrific that year.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. He'll but like I said, it's going to be a fun year. I'll hopefully get some Jacksonville gear from Coach Cohen. Coach Inarumo has landed in Indianapolis now, so I'll get my Colts gear. Yeah, it's all good. Got my Chiefs gear. Danny, what do you want, Dan? You want more Lion stuff, huh?
No, I got more than enough.
What? Did you hear the side story? And it was on Luan's podcast. Just one side note about the Lions. Did you hear the story about Ndamukong Suh when he was playing at Nebraska? When he got upset with the offensive lineman?
I can only imagine.
He got up. Who's Luan's co-host?
Will Compton.
Yeah, Compton's telling the story. He says, I've never seen anything like it in my life. He said an offensive lineman was holding Suh, and he kept on saying, don't hold me, don't hold me. The guy kept on holding him. He said, Suh with an open hand slaps the guy across the head, knocks him out.
I'm not surprised. I mean,
all they do is they move the drill up 10 yards.
Crazy.
Crazy.
It was good. He was good.
He was good. We need him back, buddy. We need him back. Okay, guys. Hey, we're really lucky to get another Chief. All we do is get Chiefs around here. It's unbelievable. And another fullback, too. I mean, we are literally – there's no podcast in the country that has put together two fullbacks in a row. Carmelo last week, and we got the great Anthony Sherman with us. We're going to bring Anthony in right now, but just a little bit of background about Anthony. He was a great player at North Attleboro High School, great player at UConn, 10-year career in the NFL where he was an outstanding player for the Kansas City Chiefs, and, of course, the Super Bowl champion. So without further ado, let's bring in Anthony Sherman.
Anthony!
What's up,
Hey,
guys?
Anthony, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good.
Anthony,
Good.
hello.
Long time no see.
I know, right?
Welcome, Anthony. I'm Coach Pap. Obviously, you know Danny V. Should we call you Anthony or the Sausage? I don't know. I mean,
Whatever you guys want. Doesn't bother me at all.
we'll stick with Anthony back in the days and everything else. Anthony, I thank you so much for joining us. So we've been lucky. I don't know if you've heard. We've had Mike Baganzi on. We've had Chris Shea on, and now to have a real Chief is just unbelievable. I just got off the phone with Mike Foley, the guy who recruited you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Coach Foley.
he said it. Yeah, Coach Foley said, make sure you say hello. And as you well know, Coach Foley, one of the greatest recruiters, I believe, in the Northeast of all time. And he put you right at the top of guys he recruited and coached. So that's great accolades right there, my friend.
Yeah, thank you. Tell him thanks for that. I paid him the big bucks to say that.
Danny, you want to start us off?
Sure. I mean, Anthony, you had a great career. When you looking back, what are some of the highlights that you've had of your career, would you say, that jump out?
I mean, obviously winning that Super Bowl is one, and making a block at the end there to seal it. That was huge. Honestly, getting drafted was another one. I mean, you grow up, Massachusetts, go to Connecticut. You're a fullback, so you have no idea that you're going to get drafted. My agent's like, you could. I don't want to tell you you're going to. You may, really don't know. So getting drafted, going to Arizona, playing there for 2 years. It's crazy because I ended my career at UConn in that stadium playing against Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl. And then, whatever it is, 6 months later, I was there again, obviously in the NFL at this time. And then playing there 2 years and then coming to Coach Reed and the Chiefs was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Going back to your North Attleboro days, you were the Gatorade Player of the Year. You're a 3-sports standout there. Talk about how North Attleboro shaped you.
Yeah, I mean, it showed me what hard work was. It showed me as a young football player that if you put the time and effort in and succeed and do the right things, the little things right, you can make anything possible. And watching those guys again this year, like I I went to the semifinal game that they played. Awesome game. I love what they're doing offensively with that team. And then I watched the state championship on my TV in my living room and made the family watch with me. So I still stay close to North Attleboro. Most Thanksgivings we go back and visit family, and I always catch a high school game. My buddy actually coaches at Seekonk High School, so I went to their Thanksgiving game this year.
You're obviously you're wearing the shirt, the sweatshirt
yep.
with pride. There you go.
I love it.
Once a Red Rocketeer, always a Red Rocketeer, right?
Yes, sir.
Now you go to UConn, you wind up being a fullback for two guys who actually wound up doing okay for themselves, Donald Brown and Jordan Todman. I mean, Donald was, not as much known around because, he was not a local kid, but Jordan Todman was. What was that like? You guys, two MIA kids playing on a team that wound up playing in a huge bowl game. I mean, people don't realize the significance of, UConn, Oklahoma was a major bowl game.
Yeah. It was awesome. I mean, he ended up actually being my roommate on the road when we traveled, home games and away games. So we got a lot of time together. Awesome kid, awesome man now. It was fun, though. It was fun the best part is like Massachusetts high school football is not known for, producing the best talent around. And you're playing with guys from Texas, California, PA, and, you got two guys from Massachusetts kind of leading the offense a little bit in certain situations. So it's always a good joke we used to have.
Do you think that, because you hear a lot of local baseball players feel like they get, not looked upon as favorably as somebody from California, Florida, or Texas. Yeah. You think that gives you a chip on your shoulder that's probably pushed you to the next level at times?
Oh, for sure. It could definitely. I mean, you think like we used to always, Coach Etzel did a great job of like keeping those fights away from the locker room, because there's been multiple college teams that will have haymakers thrown because someone says California football is better than Texas football and stuff. So for us, we all came from different areas, but we're all playing in the same team now. We're all starting, we're all going for one goal. So it definitely puts a chip on your shoulder, not thinking that you're good enough because you came from Massachusetts and you're going against a kid from Jersey or whatever. It gives you something to prove, for sure.
Now you 2 years at Arizona, you get traded. A lot of guys get mad when they get traded. They feel slighted. When you got traded, what were your initial thoughts?
I was ecstatic.
Really?
So the reason for that is Kevin Cobb was in Philly with Coach Reed, and he was in Arizona with me for 2 years. And when the coaches all got fired, Coach Reed got fired, all that stuff, Coach Reed was supposed to go to Arizona after the Chiefs. Now, the Chiefs never let him leave the building, but he was supposed to come out to Arizona. And we had sat and talked about what Coach Reed meant to Kevin, but also what he meant to football and like what I brought for what he likes and what he uses and how he would love me and utilize me in certain ways that I got to do here. But I was excited when I got the phone call, and I was like, and my running backs coach was nice enough to call me because it was kind of like a hush back door. My agent didn't know what was going on kind of thing. And he called me. He's like, "Hey, I just heard you got traded." And my initial thought was like, I wonder where. Yeah. And he said Kansas City. And I almost like on the phone, like, yes. But at that time I was like, okay, well, I appreciate it. Thank you. So I called my agent and went up there and grabbed my stuff. But I was super excited to go be with Hall of Fame coach and the offense, and the way I was utilized was awesome. And it got me to do some of the stuff I love to do.
You grew up in the backyard of the current Patriots dynasty. You go to a team that's on in the midst of what I think it's safe to say a dynasty itself. Do you see any similarities between what the Patriots were then and what the Chiefs are now?
Yeah, I do actually. I go on the radio once a week and talk about this. And honestly, it's New England. You guys know, I know. They made teams beat themselves. They were never going to go out there and just beat you. It was like, hey, we're going to keep it close. We're going to stay in this game, and we're going to let you make the mistake that beats yourself, and then we're going to win, and we're going to dominate. And I feel like that's what the Chiefs are doing right now. They had how many ever close games they had this year, and it was never – and it never felt like it was in question that they weren't good. It was just, hey, we're going to let you make the mistake, and we're going to capitalize and essentially do those small little things really well in situational football. And I know Belichick was unbelievable at that, and Coach Reid, I think, is up there with him with that stuff.
Anthony, leading into that, I may disagree with my co-host. I happen to think, after watching Andy Reid again this year, that he has become the greatest of all time. What impresses me the most about what he does is year in and year out, he changes. I mean, I know there's the consistency of Mahomes and Kelsey and those guys, but he does a great job of changing. What's the difference of this year's team compared to the team you played on when you guys won the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I don't know. I think the defense obviously is outstanding right now in big time situations, making stops, causing turnovers, however it is. They're doing a great job. I think it's just the weapons that they have and the way they move people around and utilize. I think that's why Coach Reid's one of the best offensive minds ever in football. Is he understands what you're good at and is going to put you in those situations to make you succeed, and then eventually that helps the team win. He's never going to put you in a situation that he doesn't think you're going to be able to do. He knows that you'll be able to do it, and you'll be really good at it, and he gives you that confidence to do it.
Spags is also an old friend. I mean, I went to Springfield College with all these nutty guys and stuff like that. So, I mean, it baffles me that guy couldn't get an interview in the NFL for a head coaching job this year. I mean,
yeah,
you have any thoughts on that?
Honestly, I think he's enjoying what he's doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's a lot to be said to be an NFL head coach. A lot of criticism, a lot of obligations that you have to do. And I mean, I honestly, people are here talking about it, but like, he could very well go in the Hall of Fame as an assistant coach.
The first one up.
And I think right now he's enjoying that. I think Coach Reid does an unbelievable job of never overstepping and like, hey, offense is mine. Now defense is yours. You do what you need to do. You do what you want to do. And I've got your back. So essentially he doesn't have to worry about all the media and all that stuff. He's a coordinator, but he gets his spin of things and has the full power of Coach Reid.
Yeah, I think you made a great point, because you look at the number 2 guy is not always such a bad thing. You look at Chip Kelly was the head coach at UCLA. He left to take a coordinator's job at Ohio State. It seems like it worked out pretty good for him, but I think what you said makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I just think he's enjoying what he's doing. Their defense is playing unbelievable, and he doesn't have the stress and worry. I think eventually, he maybe might want to do it again. But again, I'm not saying that I know anything, but that's not a bad guy to have in the back pocket if Coach Reid does decide to hang it up in the next few years. And he's not a guy that already knows everyone that can step in and fill those shoes. So
you're not giving us a scoop right now that Andy Reid.
No, I'm not. At any means.
You can't say Andy Reid is done.
No.
Well, speaking of done, you were done when you were finished in 2021. When do you know it's time?
Honestly, I think that a whole year was the COVID year. It was crazy. My first 2 years, I had a lot of we like to call them old heads in the locker room, a lot of guys that had, years of experience in the NFL. And I always thought it was cool, and nothing discredits anyone that played a year, 2 years, 3 years in the NFL. But I just thought there was a different ring to playing 10 years in the NFL. And that was my goal. One of my, rookie second year, I was like, I want to get 10 years. And we get, my 7th year, I go to a Pro Bowl. My 8th year, go to the Pro Bowl. 9th year, go to the Super Bowl. and then the 10th year go back to the Super Bowl, lose to Tom Brady in Tampa. But I was good. My kids are my oldest is 10 now, and he had just started competitive sports, and I was missing a ton of flag football for him, and it bothered me. I just wanted to be there for him and watch him grow and coach him, and it was that time. I was 10 years. I got my goal. I couldn't finish any unless I won the Super Bowl that year. I couldn't have finished any higher than my last 3 years in the league. So I hung it up, and now I coach multiple youth sports teams, and I'm enjoying it. I love it.
Now, a question I have, a lot of people retire. They have a press conference to announce their retirement. Some people now do it on social media.
Yeah.
Yours is I can't imagine anyone announced their retirement the same way you did. Take us through the whole story, because a lot of people don't know how you retired.
Yeah. So my last year, I got hired by the Bourbon County Sheriff's Office in Kansas as a deputy sheriff. And I'm good friends with Adam LaRoche, the baseball player. I think a lot of people know who that is. And he doesn't live too far from me. And he kind of did that. And he has a passion he has a foundation, but he has a passion for victims of trafficking.
Right.
And he's worked with IJM, is an international justice mission. And it's a nonprofit organization that does unbelievable job throughout the entire world of saving people. But he came and spoke to us, and I told my wife, Jessica, that's what I want to do when I'm done. And I knew it was kind of getting close to that time, you're going into year 10. I'm like, this could be it for me. So let me start getting some things in order for when I retire. And ended up getting on there and then becoming a task force officer with Homeland Security. And it was kind of one of those things where no one really knew what was going on besides some of teammates and stuff like that. So I was like, hey, and he had a helicopter down at the ranch. He was training some, they had a vet hunt going on. So he had a helicopter down there to do some cool things with them. And I'm like, how about we jump in the helicopter and it's off to the sunset or something? He's like, yeah, let's do it. So we kind of threw it together, last minute. We filmed it and edited it and posted it. And that's how I announced it. So kind of announced that I was going into law enforcement and retiring from the NFL.
One of our other guests had to be Carlos Canino. You can look him up. He was the number 2 guy in the ATF for years.
Okay.
Yeah. Watertown guy and Hall of Fame guy, went to Westfield State, stuff like that. So we had a full session on law enforcement. You would love it. You would really, really love it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The next guy we're going to have, hopefully, is Mike Taylor, which is a whole different story about a different type of law enforcement. I was talking to Falls, Anthony, and it was great because Danny talked a little bit. He was a huge fan, says you're the greatest guy and everything else, and obviously you are. He talked about how you won him over being a baseball player, which was really interesting. I loved it. He said, I went to see him play baseball and he's playing center field,
Yeah.
And he says, you're playing center field and you're like Mookie Betts, you go back. You are just covering everything. And he said, and I believe you, I think you stretched a double to a triple. Can you talk, you're coaching youth sports right now. Can you talk a little bit about how the multiple sports helped you, buddy?
Yeah, I'm a massive believer in multiple sports and never, putting your sights on one thing and going to it. I think you learn so much about your body, but also your athleticism. And I feel that baseball helped me in catching a football and being able to read and judge and track a football in the air. That came from center field. That came from baseball growing up. I was never really good at basketball. I'd give you I never played basketball. 5 hard fouls, maybe some rebounds, defense. Could never shoot. So I did the winter track thing and kind of used it as an avenue to stay in shape in between the sports. And I really enjoyed that. I could never figure out how to properly throw a shot put. Probably could have thrown it a lot farther if I actually did. But it was fun. It was always good to go up to Reggie Lewis Center and run some of those bigger meets and and meet a lot of good people. But no, I think just in general, my form in running, I could, I'm a bigger guy, but I could run decently fast. That was from track. And that was from being able to, how to manipulate your body to run and push and where your legs need to go, all that stuff. And hand-eye and hand placement is baseball and football. So there's just different nuances to different sports that you don't realize you're utilizing, and then you do it and you kind of sit back and realize it. So my son's playing 3 sports. They can actually play basketball. Both my sons play 3 sports, and they both can play basketball pretty well. So I think they got that from mom.
I love it.
I will say this. Now, Anthony wasn't, I think he's downplaying his baseball talent. He was a very good baseball player. I believe you were an all-scholastic baseball player.
Thank you.
I think the game, and if memory serves me, I'm an old man, but I think you played at Foxborough where you hit a bomb that might have landed 2 weeks ago. The dead set, it was crushed. But I mean, it was just amazing because he's a big guy, and usually your center fielder's a guy, 160, 170. Anthony was a big guy, and he'd get around like everyone. He crushed the baseball, and he was like a gazelle in the base paths. He was a heck of a baseball player. I think you screwed up with the football thing.
Thank you. I had set up a couple of things at UConn that possibly, if football didn't work out, maybe I'd go walk on it at the baseball team and see where it happened. But no, I mean, I just love youth sports right now. It's awesome because for me, 2 years of tackle football now with my oldest son, and going and watching them learn plays, comprehend the play, and then actually go and call it in the huddle is something that I think I find more joy in than ever playing, is being able to describe something to the point where they understand and learn it, and then continue it, reinforcing it, and then going out there. We did great this year. We ended up winning the league that we were in and playing awesome. But it's fun to watch them now go and try to achieve their goals, whatever they set their mind to, and me kind of being their number one cheerleader coach to get them to wherever they want to go.
So we're figuring this. If Coach Reed does retire, like you told us he's going to retire this year, and Coach Spagnuolo wants to stay as a defensive coordinator, are we greasing the skids for you to be the head coach of the Chiefs next year?
No, not at all. Not at all. I've had a share of opportunities in the NFL to coach. But again, like I said, I wouldn't be around to be there for the kids and watch them. I always joked, I got the possibility of a running back's job right when I was retired. And I'm like, kind of want some downtime, not more time added to the facility. So it's one of those things. And then I fell in love with coaching now and love coaching any sport. I'm more of the physical mindset in basketball, but I'll help out in any way.
Anthony, we can't thank you enough. I mean, you come as advertised. You're a great guy. We're proud of you. We're proud that, what you did here in the local area and stuff like that. And my 2 sons were fullbacks as well. I'm a big fullback guy. I'll tell you what, I watched,
awesome.
I love the way and I was a special teams coordinator at the college level. So, I mean, you were my kind of guy. So I followed your career. It was great to finally get to meet you. All right. Good luck with that.
I appreciate it.
Take care. Good seeing you again, Anthony.
Thank you. See you guys.
Take care.
Take care, buddy. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
What a great guy, Danny.
Oh, tremendous.
Oh, yeah.
He was a heck of a I mean, all kidding aside, he was a hell of a baseball player.
Oh, yeah.
Center field, man. Wow, I would not expect
like I said, that game, he hit that home run. I mean, the ball was absolutely crushed.
The him and Todman were probably the 2 of the biggest misses of all time for Boston College. I mean, listen, BC's lost guys to Notre Dame and Michigan because they're Notre Dame and Michigan.
Right.
But those 2 guys to go to UConn at the time, that was a huge miss by them. Huge. Unbelievable. Yeah, crazy. Okay, cool.
Yeah, let's go right in the shout-outs, guys.
Start us off, Danny.
I'm going with Mr. Excitement himself, Pete Carroll. Very happy for, he's a good guy. He's a really good person. He's actually the father of a Herald All-Scholastic. His daughter was an All-Scholastic volleyball player. He brought her in. could not have been a nicer guy. I mean, he's just a guy that's easy to root for.
Yeah.
You know,
Who
you just
doesn't love Pete Carroll?
Yeah, you go there. You know, he's going to a place where the expectations, and probably a lot like when he got to Seattle, the expectations weren't high. He's going to get the most out of what they have. Now, what they have remains to be seen. I mean, they got to get players. I mean, you can't win without players.
Pete Carroll was the greatest guy. So we are down at the Patriots camp, and he invites us to get close, really close to the drills. So Bobby Almeida's now watching the tight ends, and they're drilling. And all of a sudden, there's a drill, and Ben Coates is coming closer and closer to Almeida. Now, he's not the most nimble guy in the world, right? He's backpedaling. There's a collision, and Coates goes down. He's an all-pro at the time, right? You'd think Pete Carroll would be ready to kill him. He comes right up to Almeida and goes, okay, not so close. I said close, but not so close. He was the nicest guy of all time.
It doesn't surprise me.
I'm so happy. Well, speaking of nice guys, I'm going to shout out to Jimmy Knowles. Jimmy Knowles was the head coach at Cornell when I was at BB&N. He recruited a bunch of my guys. I got to know him really well. Honestly, one of the nicest guys I've ever met in the coaching field. Went on, and most recently was the defensive coordinator with Ohio State. Well, he's the best in the business, and now he's getting paid the best in the business. He's got a multi-year contract at $3 million a year. Good for Jimmy Knowles. Good guy.
Good.
Maybe he can bankroll the show.
Yeah, we're doing all right. We're paying Damien. We have to start paying you too?
Maybe.
Whoa. Well, then we're going to need Knowles. We're going to need Knowles for the $3 million. What are you ranting about, Danny?
I'm sick of this tush push or whatever you want to call it. It's a joke. You know, I know the Eagles have perfected it. The Bills certainly have not perfected it, and it's probably why they're not playing right now. I mean, it's not even a football play. I mean, it's a foolish play. Get rid of the damn thing. It's almost like the shift in baseball. They get rid of it. The football people can get rid of this thing as well.
Danny, I am 100% with you. And again, you are absolutely right that the reason why the Bills lost the game, quite frankly, is they tried to run, and that's going to be my rant in a second, but they tried to run 6 quarterback sneaks, and they suck at it. I mean, it was disgusting. They were terrible at it.
Brutal.
I mean, was it a bad call at the end? I mean, it's the fucking NFL, for God's sakes. And you trying to tell me that one line judge is coming in a yard to the right, and the other line judge is coming in a yard to the left? I mean, it's the NFL. It's the biggest play of the year.
Yeah.
And they can't get that right, but it's their fault. I mean, it's crazy. So that leads into my rant. You know what? Joe Brady, what were you doing? I mean, what were you doing? You had the worst red zone attack I've ever seen in pro football. I mean, I will say this. It was close to how bad Minnesota was against the Lions. But I mean, honest to God, you've got Josh Allen, who is a man-child. Okay, he's Joe Cap, Danny. He's Joe Cap. And you can't figure out ways for him to run quarterback sweep, quarterback zone read. You can't figure that shit out on the goal line. We got to run 6 fucking quarterback sneaks.
And where was James Cook?
Where was James?
Unless he was injured. Now, if he was injured, fine. If he wasn't injured, he has got to be out there.
You saw the dynamic run he made on the goal line? Are you kidding me? No, you know what? Brady blew it. Joe Brady blew that game. I know McDermott blew some things where he should have, as we've seen in the replays, McDermott definitely should have challenged the first down, the play before the fourth down, the third down. It was definitely a first down. It wasn't even close. So McDermott froze again. But the Brady stuff that's inexcusable. It was inexcusable. Josh Allen should have had 20 carries that day. That was garbage. So anyways, sorry about that, Joe. You got my rant.
There you go. Congrats, Joe.
I feel better now. All right, guys, next week we are definitely going to be on. And we're trying to get a very special guest if we can. If he does come on, it's going to be I'm going to make it a surprise for everyone. Okay?
Sounds good.
All right.
All right.
All
Until
right, guys.
stay warm.